Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of the VR Game Rankings daily vlog for Friday, October 6th. My name is Anthony, and we've made it to episode 5. This is a full week. We've actually gotten through a full entire week of doing these daily vlogs. And I've had a couple of problems. Like, I don't know if you guys saw on the video yesterday, there were some video problems. Like halfway through the video, it got all messed up. I don't know what happened there. When I record these episodes, when I record these videos, what I do is when the video's done, basically I run it through a little video editor just to snip the front and the end of it, just so I have a beginning and an end. But I don't screw around with anything in the middle whatsoever. I just leave it the way it is. And so I didn't even know that it had like a problem until I saw later. But other than that, I think it's been pretty good. I mean, obviously the first episode was way too much of like a confessional or something like that. That was a little bit overblown. But, it was the first one. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. Basically, just trying to do the best that I can here. I just want to talk VR and that type of stuff for about 30 minutes a day, and that's basically what we're doing, and I think it's working out relatively well. I do want to apologize again, though, for the Dimension Hunter giveaway thing that I was doing on Reddit, and I got that video up yesterday. I was thinking that you guys would have maybe 2 hours to bounce over to Reddit and still get into that contest. But by the time the video finally got uploaded, the daily vlog yesterday, there was only like 30 minutes left in that contest. So I don't know that anybody was able to bounce over to Reddit and get entered into the contest in time. But hopefully in the future, if I do have giveaways that are being planned or video giveaways that I know about, I'll try to give you guys a heads up and give you a chance to get into some of these contests and stuff like that to try to win some of these game keys. So let's see. Today, I actually have my very first show question. Now, David Alette, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but David Alette, he posted a comment on daily vlog number 4, yesterday's episode of the vlog. He posted a comment where he asked a question for Friday's show. And this is something that you can do. Now, hopefully, I actually see it. Now, I luckily saw this before today's show, so I'm able to put this question on there. But even if I don't see it for the very next show, as long as it's not a time-sensitive question, I could probably ask it. I mean, I could probably answer the question on a future show. So that's not a big deal there. Also, of course, you can go ahead and just email a question if you'd like. vrgamerankings@gmail.com. Very simple, very easy. vrgamerankings@gmail.com if you would like to ask a question. So David Alette, here's his question. Question for Friday's show. Why has it become common, or at least more common than not, for games and experiences to leave out an exit quit option? You have to jump out to the Oculus or Steam VR and force a game to close. This just feels clunky and not right. David, I couldn't agree with you more. So many times I see this in VR games. It's funny because yesterday I was playing Zing, The Land Beyond, which I wrote an article about Zing, The Land Beyond on VR Game Rankings, calling it a surprise contender for Game of the Year. And man, that game is just speaking to me. It really is. I really love that game. It kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. But anyway, to get back to David's question here, I was playing Zing and it was time for me to quit out of the game. And it does have that option. You can hit a button and then it gives you the menu and it says quit, and you can quit to desktop and it says progress will be saved, and you feel really good. When you're in a VR game and you spent like an hour in the game or however long in the game and it's time to quit, you want to feel like your stuff is being saved, that you're not just quitting and then you come back into the game and it never saved any of that. And you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it didn't do that. And there's lots of times where I'm in various VR games and they don't have this quit option. They don't have an exit option. And you just have to kind of hope. You just have to hope that your progress had been saved, that you got far enough into it, and your progress was saved. Now, why are developers doing this? Why is this more common than not? I don't know. I mean, I guess one of the reasons I think it could be possible is that when you talk about VR is supposed to be this immersion. You're supposed to be totally immersed in it, and any type of menu or thing that pops up can kind of take you out of the immersion a little bit. So I think maybe some of the developers don't like to have so many different menus that are always popping in to the experience, where you might accidentally activate the menu. So it's almost like we need to have like some type of standard, like hit both thumbsticks down and it pops up an exit menu. There almost needs to be like a standard option or something like that. But yeah, I'm not really sure exactly why it happens, and it can be frustrating because I so many times I'm in a game and I feel like I made it to a new level. Now sometimes you do have these games though where you get to like a checkpoint or something and you can tell that it's saving your progress at that point, but a lot of times you can't, and it's because of this immersion thing. They don't really want to draw you out of it. And so yeah, it's just one of those bugaboos, man. You know, another thing that bothers me, David, is you don't like this exit. I mean, you want to have an exit quit option, and you want that to just be there and be logical and be obvious. And I totally agree with that. Another little pet peeve that I have, and I don't know if this bothers anybody else, but anytime I'm in any kind of VR experience, I don't care what it is, I want to see my hands. I want to see the controllers. I want to see hands or something, even while the thing is loading up. Like, I don't want to stand in a black void and just have my head be able to look around at things, but where's my damn hands? Put my hands in there. I don't know why that's such a big deal for me, but one thing I've noticed is I like to see my hands. And so anytime I get a game where I see either the controllers or you see hands right away, I like that because I'm in this loading screen. It's loading up. It's taking time to load up, but I can, move my hands around. I see my hands. It puts me in the situation. It puts me in the experience way better. Even if you have like some type of 360 video thing or something where it's a passive experience, I still want to see my hands because, or the controllers or something, because I want to feel like I'm here and I'm present. And if all I have is eyes, I feel like I'm just like this immobilized thing that just has eyes and I'm just viewing it, and I don't have presence within the game. And so I love it when developers give you hands right away. I want the hands right away. Is this a pet peeve of mine? Does anybody else have that pet peeve? I'm curious. But David, thanks so much for the question. Really appreciate it. And, if you guys want to leave questions in the comments, that's perfectly fine. And like I said, I will eventually get to them. If they're time sensitive, it could depend, because the next show, obviously, so this is Friday, right? There will not be a daily show for Saturday or Sunday. One of those 2 days, I'm going to be recording episode 56 with Steve and Gary. I don't know if Chris is going to be able to make this particular episode. Usually with VR game rankings, it's possible that one of us will not be able to make an episode. And one of the reasons that we actually have 4 people is because it allows somebody to miss an episode and it's not that big of a deal. So that's kind of one of the reasons we wanted to have 4 people. Sometimes when we have all 4 guys there, it's almost like too many chefs in the kitchen, and everybody wants to get their little comment in on every particular story. And that's how we end up with these super long shows. And you'll get people in the comments saying, the show's too long, man. This is way too long. But it is a podcast. We just happen to be filming it on video for somebody that might want to watch it on video. But it's really a podcast. And podcasts usually are about 2 hours. So I don't know why people complain so much, but it's like a YouTube thing. So People don't like super long videos. Like I did that Oculus Top 20 video. One of the comments to that Oculus Top 20 games video is, I could have done this in 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'd love you to come work for VR Game Rankings as our editor, because if you can do that in 10 to 15 minutes, that's great. Maybe I am talking a little too long on some of those games and stuff, but that was the first one I've ever done, so it's kind of going to be a learning experience, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so that was the question. Okay, the next thing I wanted to get into is, and this is nothing big, I just wanted to mention it, but man, I need an intro outro for my YouTube videos. You know how VR Game Rankings, like there's an intro and there's an outro. And it might be our intro and outro for VR Game Rankings, I think, is perfect for the podcast. But like when we would do like Let's Plays or something like that, I think it might be a little bit too long for that. And we almost need to have like little shorter ones for that type of stuff. But for VR Game Rankings, I need an intro. I need an outro. I really do. I know that. I know that it's bad not to have this intro and outro. And the only thing I can explain as far as that goes is that I'm not a video guy. This isn't my bag. I'm not a video editor type person. I'm not really like the graphic artistic design guy either. If you go to vrgamerankings.com, the whole thing could probably use a complete graphical makeover, but that's not my talent set. You know, that's not where I have talent, basically. Now, could I take a couple of days, could I take some time and watch a bunch of YouTube videos on how to make your own intro and how to make your own outro and figure it all out and download these different programs and make everything look nice and neat? I probably could, because anybody can really do that now. That's the beauty of YouTube. You can learn how to do basically anything. But the conundrum that I'm in, and this is a daily conundrum for me, is that there's only one version of me, and so I can only work on one thing at one time. You guys remember that Michael Keaton movie? It was like way back in the 90s. It was a dumb, crappy movie. It wasn't very good. I think it was like Multiplicity or something, but Michael Keaton somehow figured out a way to make clones of himself, and he had like 20 clones, and he was sending them to do all kinds of different things, and then all kinds of silly things would happen. If I could make 20 clones of myself and tell clone number 19 to go do this and clone number 18 to go do that, oh my God, VR Game Rankings, the website, and this YouTube channel would be so much better. But unfortunately, I don't have a clone machine yet. It's just me, and so it's a balancing act, because if I spend too much time on this video stuff, the website suffers. And if I spend all the time on the website, then the YouTube channel is kind of suffering as well. So it really is a balancing act. And one other thing I wanted to mention too, in relation to this, is you guys might have noticed on the video channel that I'm doing these little review videos. They're basically just breakout videos from that longer Oculus video. And so the idea behind this is that I spent so much time doing that original Oculus video that I thought, hey, I could use some of these little individual segments where I'm just specifically talking about one specific game for like 3 minutes. I can cut that out of there and kind of make it into its own little review video, basically. And so I've done that. Now, is it ideal? No. Honestly, I'll be completely honest. Honestly, I would like to write specific review videos and have them completely separate and not like do this little breakout thing. I'm doing this little breakout thing right now just because it adds a little bit, some extra stuff to the channel, okay? And then another big part of it is purely on the, excuse me. Another big part of it is purely with Google SEO, search engine optimization. Anybody that runs any kind of website anywhere, you have to pay really close attention to the search engine optimization, Google SEO, like how you come up in search results. And one of the things I thought is, because we do have these pages on VR Game Rankings, we have our mini reviews. They're really, little mini bite-sized reviews where we quickly try to break down a game and we give it a number score. And because we have those pages on our website that will say, Lone Echo, review rating, whatever it was, it'll say that there, VR Game Rankings. My thought process is that if I have a YouTube video that has basically the same kind of title, then it's kind of a double whammy. You know what I mean? From a Google SEO standpoint, if these little videos ever get a little bit of attention and they start getting views and stuff, it could turn into kind of a double whammy situation where it just helps the Google SEO thing out. And I know you guys don't care about that. And I know it might be somewhat irritating to see these little videos because it's like, oh, I already watched this. This was part of the Oculus Top 20. And there's no intro and there's no outro. And that's why I bring this up. I need an intro. I need an outro. I'm not sure what I'm going to do as far as the outro goes, because it really is a conundrum, because I can try to make like some little simple rinky dink kind of intro outro that I could throw together without spending a lot of time on it. But I'm not sure if that would even be worse than not having any intro or outro at all. I don't know. If you guys have any suggestions for that, I'd be interested in hearing it. And if there's anybody out there that is like a video wizard that can make incredibly cool intro outros, like breaking no sweat whatsoever, and you'd want to help me out with that, that would be freaking awesome as well. vrgamerankings@gmail.com if you want to get a hold of me. But I'm not expecting that, obviously, but it's something I'll figure out eventually. I definitely need to figure that out eventually. Okay, the next topic I wanted to get into is games coming out of early access. So this is something that has kind of hit the news recently. Dead Effect 2 VR and Raw Data are two big games that have come out of early access. Now, what is this come out of early access thing? Honestly, I'm a console gamer by heart, to be totally honest with you guys. Like, I'm mostly a console gamer. I'm now a PC gamer because that's where the good VR is right now. Although I do have PlayStation VR and it's still pretty cool. But I'm a console gamer by heart, and I'm not really a PC gamer. So I'm not really the Steam guy that has been involved with early access way before VR came and the whole early access concept. I get the concept, I really do. But it's funny how people truly believe in this early access idea, like, oh, that game's still in early access. You can't judge it now. It's still in early access. I can't believe you're reviewing a game that's in early access. My take on the whole review thing, I've said this before, if you're selling something, you're game to criticism, period, okay? If I'm going to sell this shirt on eBay, I don't care what I call it. I could call this like, this is first early access of this shirt. Please don't review it. It's not ready yet. I'm selling it. If you're selling it, you're open to criticism, period, end dot. And so that's my take on early access. And so these games coming out of early access, like when I hear somebody say that such and such game has come out of early access and it's like this big cause for celebration, I don't really get it. Now, I will say this, okay, in regards to Raw Data, I'm going to go into Raw Data actually later today. I do want to check it out because I want to see, is there this like big major difference? Am I going to notice like this night and day difference between Raw Data a couple weeks ago and Raw Data today? Maybe I will. It's probably little different settings and little extra things that I might not even care about. So I don't know about this whole coming out of early access being like this big deal. But, it is what it is. It's one of those things that I'll probably get more familiar with as time goes on. But I just wanted to touch on this coming out of early access thing. And my whole early access take is like, dude, if your game is out there and you're charging money, as far as I'm concerned, your game is out. Okay, your game is out. Now, if you continue to add to it and polish it up, that's wonderful. But as far as I'm concerned, your game is out. And so what our policy on reviews is like, our reviews can change. Like, I will have review scores sometimes. I'll give a game like a 92, right? And then it'll be like a month later and I'll be like, that shouldn't have a 92. I was a little bit too hyped on that game. It must have been like the honeymoon effect. And I might knock it down to like an 89 or an 88 or something like that. And that's because I believe our feelings on reviews as time goes by the way we feel about games can change. It can change over time. Sometimes it doesn't change at all. Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, my review today would be the same review it would be back in 1991 when that game came out. One of the greatest video games ever, period. Okay, one of our absolute classics, like a freaking Mona Lisa for video games as far as I'm concerned. Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, one of the 5 greatest video games ever. Okay, so like my review for that wouldn't change, but other games over time, yeah, sometimes your feeling about a game changes, and I think you can change the game score. So when it comes to this early access stuff, that's the same way I take it. So if I play Dead Effect 2 VR later today and I'm like, oh my God, they've improved it so much, it seems almost like a different game, maybe I would change the score that I gave it, but for the most part, I don't know. I don't know that that's going to be the case. But I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, one of the things I did want to talk about real quick, and I should have already had, hold on one second, because I'm wondering if this will screw up my video. I'm going to open up a web page because I wonder if this is why my video screwed up yesterday. I guess we'll find out, won't we? When I look at this video later today, if me doing this right now ends up screwing up the video somehow. It shouldn't. I wouldn't think me opening up a web page on this computer would screw up the video in some way, but you just never know. But what I'm doing right now is I'm going to, at VR Game Rankings, we have at the very top of the website, we have like some different categories, and one of the categories is VR experiences. And I just wanted to talk about this real quick because I don't think it gets the kind of attention that it probably should deserve. It's like part of VR Game Rankings is it's the software. We're celebrating the software. We want to celebrate. That's what VR Game Rankings is all about. We're not really into hardware. We're not really into news per se. What we're about is we want to celebrate the best VR games and experiences that we currently have now. And then we also want to hype up VR games and experiences that are coming soon. Those are the 2 major things that we're trying to do with this. And we don't really care that much about news. We don't care that much about hardware. We could have an article here or there about some of that stuff, but that's not our focus. But I'm looking at the VR Game Rankings, our top 30 VR experiences. And I'm just curious, do you guys get into the experiences like I do? Like, games are my thing, but some of these experiences are incredible. Like right now, number 1 is Google Earth. I mean, we don't really need to talk about that. Google Earth is fantastic. It's getting better and better. Google Earth actually is like, if you have like an older person, like my father-in-law or something, he comes over to my house, he's in his 70s, and Google Earth is the type of thing that I could put him in. I could actually go in there, go to where his house is, and put it so that I'm like right in front of his house, and then put the headset on him and show him that. And that's the kind of thing where he'd be like, oh my God, this is incredible. So Google Earth is a great thing for that. Number 2 on our experiences list is First Contact, which is the Oculus. It's like when you first get Oculus Touch, it's kind of explaining you how to go through Oculus Touch. Man, they did such a damn good job with First Contact. The rendering engine of that, the lighting, it just looks so good. It looks so clean. I mean, when I play that thing First Contact, I don't think I need a new headset. Everything looks good to me now. It's just how they did with that rendering engine, whatever they did, much love. And I wish there were games that just look that good. Tilt Brush is awesome, of course. Robot Repair in the Lab. Sometimes what I think about is like, if you can completely wipe your memory, if you could go to one of these total recall centers and you'd like wipe your memory and be able to have a brand new spanking memory of any VR experience ever, Robot Repair from the Lab would be one of the greatest ones. I mean, that was so impactful when I first experienced that. Oculus Dream Deck, the T-Rex and all that. I mean, there's so much good stuff there. Irrational Exuberance. Oh man, the first time I was in Irrational Exuberance, I remember the very first time I was in Irrational Exuberance, in my early days in VR, I had this major like fear of heights problem. I still have a fear of heights in real life. Like if I get up on top of the Sears Tower or something, I'm not going to want to go that close to the edge. That's not me. I like to be on solid, firm ground, all right? And, it'd be wonderful if I didn't have any fear of heights, but I do. And when I first got into VR, so many times I would be in a situation where I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to do? I got to get out of here. Like, it really freaking affected me major. And I think it was just because it was such a new thing and my brain was getting used to it all, and it really seemed so more impactful back then. I've kind of adjusted to it now, and I don't really have a fear of heights in VR. It's very rare that I feel that fear of heights in VR anymore, which I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Maybe the graphics have to get a lot better or something to trick my brain again. Not sure how that works. But irrational exuberance, I remember the first time I broke through, because I didn't know what it was. I just went into it. I didn't know anything about it. And you're breaking these little pieces off, and then a big part of the cave, I didn't know we were out in space. You break off this huge part of the cave, and then you realize you're freaking out in space, and then more pieces of the cave start to break off, and then I feel like, oh shit, I'm going to fall out of here. I got freaked out. I had to shut off. I had to quit out of irrational exuberance. There's this other experience. Let me see where we ranked it. The cubicle. Okay, that's ranked number 11. The cubicle, I had to quit out of that several times. I couldn't deal with it. It just didn't work for me. I got the blue at number 7, Waltz of the Wizard, Mayubi at number 9, which I'm so impressed with Mayubi. Allumette at number 10, The Cubicle at number 11, 0 Days VR. I was super impressed with 0 Days VR. So there's lots of great experiences out there, and I hope that the rest of you guys and girls out there don't forget about these experiences. Games are great, but these experiences are awesome as well. And the cool thing with most of these experiences, most of them are free. And so it is a little bit of a problem, though, from the standpoint that we need to figure out a way for people to actually earn money by making experiences. Maybe it's going to need to be like some type of it's going to need to be some type of subscription setup, almost like some type of Netflix setup or something, where you pay like $6 a month and you get like 4 or 5 free experiences every single month. And we need some kind of way to pay these people for making these incredible experiences. Some of the other experiences that really blew me away, I'm trying to think here, the ones that really jumped, Destinations. Destinations is awesome. The Wave VR is really cool. If you guys have never tried that on a Wednesday when they're actually doing like the rave thing, like that's incredible. The Joshua Bell VR experience on PlayStation VR, if all 360 videos look that freaking good, oh my goodness. I know they're doing special tricks there. Senza Peso. Senza Peso is an awesome experience. There's just so many. Surge VR, Postcards, Colossus, Trials on Tatooine was kind of lame. Dear Angelica was pretty good. But I haven't updated this page in a long time. And I really want to get back to VR experiences. Ideally, I mean, I'd like to put more time into that and kind of make that a bigger part of VR game rankings as far as the experiences. And I've kind of been slipping on that. I'm not going to lie about that. Again, that goes back to the fact that there's only so many things I can do. So really what I try to do is, if something's on fire, I try to go put out the fire. That's really what I'm trying to do, more so than I don't really have the ability to like just pick and choose whatever I want to do. It's kind of like if something really needs to be fixed, I gotta work on that first. Okay, so we're almost done here. There's really only a minute left. The last thing I'll mention is VR Roundtable. VR Roundtable episode 55. There was a comment on the VR Roundtable episode 55 by Tyler Hill, and he said, "Please don't swear. I like that this was a family-friendly podcast." And man, I feel you, Tyler. I really do, because my kids are older now, but my kids used to be a lot younger, obviously, and I listened to podcasts back when they were younger, and sometimes I would listen to my podcasts in the car. and my kids would sometimes be in the car. And I know what you're talking about, because sometimes I would listen to a certain podcast where dudes are cussing all the freaking time, dropping F-bombs here and F-bombs there. And you can't listen to that when you have kids in the car with you. Or if, like, maybe you have a young child that's like 12 or 13 and they're really into VR, and you're actually watching the VR Roundtable episodes with them, and then all of a sudden I drop the F-bomb. It's usually me. I mean, I'm the one that cusses out of the group, I think, more so than like Steve or Chris or Gary. I don't know if I've heard Gary cuss, but I think I've heard Steve cuss maybe once or twice. I'm the guy that cusses, so this is on me. And Tyler, I don't have a great answer for this, man, because I don't want to self-censor myself. I want to try to be real. The only thing I will say in defense of my cussing, now on these little vlogs, I might cuss even more. These are going to be more uncensored. It's going to be more a little bit behind the scenes, and I feel like I'm just going to do whatever on this. I mean, this is my own private thing, so I don't even need to worry about it. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Steve and Gary and Chris, if they saw this guy's comment, and I wonder if they'll talk to me about the cussing when we get together to record episode 56. But it's not something I'm trying to go out of my way to do. I try to leave the cusses, I try to have them be kind of rare, so that when I do drop an F-bomb, it has maybe a little bit more power. And I'm doing it to like express myself. And so it's hard, because it's like, I understand what Tyler Hill, I understand what you're saying here. This was a family-friendly podcast. I don't want to be the guy that turns this into the non-family friendly podcast, but at the same time, I don't want to have to censor myself. I don't want to have to constantly think, oh, I better not say that, because I don't want to do that either. So there's really no good answer here. The only thing I'll try to say is I'll try to watch the F-bombs a little bit and try to see if I can. Last episode, I maybe dropped a few more than normal. So I'll try to ease up on that. But at the same time, I just don't want to censor myself. So I don't know what to tell you about that. But anyway, guys, we are actually past the 30-minute mark. I just want to say thanks for your guys' support. This has been the very first week of doing these daily vlogs, and I think it's going relatively well. I'm actually having fun doing this. It doesn't take that much time. I throw on the camera and the mic, and I have to just do a little quick editing, render it real quick, get it onto YouTube. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not that big of a deal. And I hope that it's providing this extra content for VR Game Rankings YouTube channel, just to give something else for people to check out. And I do want to get back to the top 20 videos. Like I want to do an Oculus Rift top 20. I want to do a PlayStation VR top 20. I think it's incredibly important that I do that. It's just so much work that it's difficult, because then the website. So, but I've already talked about that. You guys already know about that. But I'm going to try to work it out somehow. I'm going to try to figure it out somehow. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and do it for episode 5 of the daily vlog for Friday, October 6th. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Take it easy. Later.